The Arizona Cardinals aren't just preparing for the 49ers this week. They're preparing for Brock Purdy. And that's not a guess. That's the reality when a defensive coordinator looks at film and sees a quarterback who's playing at an MVP pace, but also dealing with recent injury concerns. So now, the Cardinals believe they see an opening, a weakness, a moment where they can attack. And let's be honest, every team in the league is taking notes. If Purdy's mobility is even slightly limited, if his lower body mechanics aren't 100%, pressure becomes a weapon. And the Cardinals? They're planning to use it. Here's where things get interesting. Arizona isn't a dominant pass rush team on paper. They don't have a Myles Garrett, a T.J. Watt, or a Micah Parsons coming off the edge. But what they do have is a coordinator who loves creating chaos. Simulated pressures, late rotating safeties, overloaded fronts that force the quarterback into mistakes before the ball is even snapped. And Purdy, well, he's usually extremely calm against that stuff. Usually. But when you throw in the injury variable, that's where the Cardinals think they can tilt the field. Now, here's the key part. This isn't just about Purdy being banged up. It's about how the offense has to adjust around him. Because every time a defense decides we're sending heat, Kyle Shanahan has to counter it. He has to punish it. And that's where this matchup gets real. The Cardinals want to force Purdy into quick decisions. They want him uncomfortable. They want him throwing off platform, without setting his feet, without using the mechanics that make him one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. But the 49ers have a counterpunch. A big one. Shanahan lives for games like this. When a defense decides, we're going to attack your quarterback, Kyle says, okay, now watch what happens when you overcommit. And this is where San Francisco can actually explode offensively, because aggressive defenses leave grass in the middle of the field. They leave voids behind blitzers. They open windows for quick game rhythm plays, screens, misdirection, and those classic Shanahan crossers that turn into 30-yard gains. And if the Cardinals blitz too often, Purdy will eat it alive. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football against the blitz, not because of arm strength, but because he processes fast. Really fast. But there's a catch. For this to work, Purdy has to trust his body. He has to trust his dropbacks, trust his timing, trust that the injury won't limit the way he resets his base when the pocket shifts. And if he hesitates, even for half a second, that's when problems start. You'll see the rhythm break. The anticipation throws disappear. The timing with Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle slips. And suddenly, the Cardinals get exactly what they wanted. Now, let's talk about what Shanahan must do. Because this game doesn't start with Purdy. It starts with the game plan. Kyle has to protect Purdy early. Get the ball out fast. Use motion to identify blitz looks. Force the Cardinals to declare their coverage instead of disguising it. And most importantly, lean into the run game to keep Arizona honest. Christian McCaffrey is the ultimate safety valve. Get him touches early. Hit outside zone. Hit quick toss. Hit angle routes if the linebackers are flying downhill too aggressively. All of that slows down the Cardinals' pressure. All of that buys Purdy time. But there's something else, something subtle that matters even more. Shanahan needs to give Purdy freedom. Let him change protections. Let him check into hot routes. Let him use his eyes to manipulate the defense the way the elite quarterbacks do. And Purdy can do it.
He's shown it over and over again.
But this game will test how comfortable he is doing it while playing through pain.
Now, how does Purdy counter the Cardinals' game plan?
It's simple, but also not simple at all.
He has to stay calm in chaos, which is usually his superpower. He has to keep his feet quiet, even when pressure is coming. He has to trust the middle of the field, because Arizona is going to give it to him at times. And he can't drift backward in the pocket, something he sometimes does when he's not fully healthy. If he stays disciplined, if he stays balanced, he'll carve them up. There's another layer here. The Cardinals will likely try to force him left, away from his natural throwing comfort. So expect rollouts, bootlegs, misdirection, anything Kyle can use to reset the throwing platform so Purdy isn't stuck in awkward angles while managing injury. And if that works, the offense is going to feel unstoppable. Because once those first few completions hit, once the rhythm settles in, Purdy becomes a different quarterback.
Calm,
Surgical,
almost machine-like in how he picks apart defensive mistakes. But if the 49ers fail to respond,
then the Cardinals' plan suddenly becomes dangerous.
pressure becomes more effective. The injury becomes a bigger factor.
And the offense becomes stagnant. And that's when you see turnovers.
Bad sacks.
Drives that end before they start.
And if that happens, Arizona suddenly has a blueprint the rest of the league can copy. Because if one team sees Purdy struggling against pressure while managing an injury, everyone else will try it too. So this isn't just about beating the Cardinals.
It's about sending a message.
A message to every defensive coordinator watching.
Blitzing Purdy is not the answer. This game is a test. A real one.
Not a test of talent. Purdy already proved that.
Not a test of toughness. He's played through worse.
But a test of precision, command, timing, and trust. Trust in his body. Trust in his reads. Trust that the offense can execute even under targeted pressure. If the 49ers respond correctly, the offense won't just survive. It'll explode. Because when you beat a blitz-heavy defense early, they panic. They back off. They play softer. And then Shanahan unleashes the full playbook. Deep shots. Over routes. Kittle up the seam. McCaffrey isolations. Everything. But if they don't respond, well, the Cardinals' plan suddenly looks brilliant.
And the game becomes a grind.
So now we wait. We watch. We see whether Purdy, dealing with pressure, dealing with injury, dealing with a defense that wants to hit him every play, steps into the moment. And if he does, the 49ers won't just win. They'll remind the league exactly who they are. And why stopping this offense is one of the hardest jobs in the NFL.